and welcome to Central Campus Camera. I'm Joella.
And I'm Soren.
And today we're sitting here with second year student Harper Egge. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, my name is Harper Egge. I am a senior at Roosevelt High School, but I'm just about to graduate. I've been doing filmmaking for a couple years now, but these past couple years in the program, I've grown so much as a filmmaker, and I'm super appreciative of that.
So what work have you done with this class and for festivals?
Well, my most recent film, which is in the festival circuit right now, was called Blood on Your Hands. I wrapped production and editing and stuff like that in about late January. And I'm really proud of that film. It actually just won a Crystal Pillar for short or long form fiction content.
Wow.
So that was really exciting. And then it's also up for an Iowa Motion Picture Award.
Oh, wow. Yeah, nice. Is that the project you're most proud of? And if not, what is this year that you've done?
I think it is one of the projects I'm most proud of. It's really difficult to say. I think it shows how much I've grown. Like if you watch my first film, if you watch this film, like you can really see how much I've learned. And I approached it in an entirely new style than I had ever done before. And I really liked that, and I just enjoyed making it. But I'd say another project I'm really proud of, just because of the sheer size of it, was I made it my junior year in the fall, The Crucible, a mockumentary.
Oh, wow.
That's about a 30-minute short film. And that won the Award of Achievement at IMPAs, but it was too long to submit to for a Crystal Pillar Award. But just because I was also in the play and I was in school and just doing like 1,000 other things and also making this huge and coordinating this huge production. I'd never done anything of that size before, so I will always be proud of that, whether I watch it and cringe and I'm like, oh, I should have done this. I will just always have that feeling of pride of the work I put into it.
Yeah, a 30-minute mockumentary is an achievement either way.
I was going to say that sounds
Thank you.
like a lot of hard work.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone who was acting in it was in the play. That's what I wanted. It was about theater kids.
Wow.
And these exaggerated stereotypes of theater kids I'd seen over the years. And I had the idea over the summer, and I just was like, this is going to be a really big project. So I don't think anyone's going to want to do this. But then people did, and it worked out, and I made them stay for like 6 hours at the school. And
that's true friendship.
We'd rehearse for 3 hours and then film for 3 hours. But it was worth it, and we had a premiere for it last year and everything, and it was just a really fun experience.
So what exactly inspired this project?
The mockumentary?
Yes.
Ooh, well, I was doing a mentorship at Iowa PBS at the time, and I was doing their social media rotation, and she prompted me to come up with a television show, and it's like, oh, what could I do? And they do a lot of documentary-based stuff. And I'm a huge fan of sitcoms. I'm a big sitcom girl,
I love them myself.
I had a big The Office phase. I'd say my favorite right now is Community, but they're mockumentary style, and Abbott Elementary, Parks and Rec. And so I have an appreciation for that style, and I think it can be used really well. And it's used in movies like Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping, Pet Show, or what is it? Pet Show, I think it's, But
sounds right.
I just thought it was really funny, and I am a huge theater kid. I'm in all the musicals and the plays and stuff.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. So I just was, over the years, I had seen these stereotypes and a lot of characters. You have the one guy who doesn't really want to be there, and he gets cast in the lead role because he's one of the only tenors ever. But he's just and then so I had that, and then you always have that really toxic theater couple that's always breaking up, getting back together, bringing everyone into their drama. So I had that, and then you have usually a really theater obsessed person who really thinks they're all that. So I kind of just saw these archetypes, and I just thought it would be really funny. And I had this idea, and I was driving home, and I called the person who I'd co-direct a lot of my films with, and I was like, hey, I have this idea. Am I crazy? Should we do this for the next play? We didn't even know what the play was going to be. We were just whatever it is, we'll adapt.
Of course.
It was just a lot of let's adapt and let's keep moving forward. And then I wrote the script in early September, and everyone just somehow got on board, and it kind of developed from there, I guess.
Nice, yeah. So you mentioned co-directing. You co-direct most of your films. How is working with someone else to achieve your vision? How does that work for you?
It's a really interesting process. Narratively, I have always co-directed my films. I've directed some of my own stuff, but it started out my friend Thomas, who is also in this program and has also directed some of his own stuff and is really talented. We had a lot of classes together my sophomore year, and we bonded over our love of sitcoms and television. And I was it was that time where I decided I needed to make my first film, but I was really intimidated. I was really anxious, and I was like, hey, I don't want to do this alone. Will you do this with me? Like, I have this idea, but will you do this with me? And it just grew from there. So yeah, like it was always, it was always that we were going to direct together. And he really has made me so much better. And he's always been like, Harper, like, you don't make sense when you're like, I would say something. I just absolutely ramble on talking to the actors. And then like, I was like, okay, do you guys know what I'm saying? And they're like, and then Thomas would use 3 words and it would just make the most sense. So he reins me in. He does a great job of like scheduling and making sure everything's put together, and just a really great person to lean on. You know, writing the script is such a self-involved thing. You know, I'm creating these characters, you're creating this world, you're creating this reality and like these different dynamics. But then when you put it to screen, like there's like 1,000 people involved in like 1 minute of film. Exactly. So you have so many people. So all of a sudden you go from the super solitary process to this huge collaboration. And Thomas has just been a great person to work with because we're both really scared of hurting each other's feelings, but we're also good enough friends where we can hurt each other's feelings.
Of course, when you need to.
Yes, exactly. So it's always a good process, and it helped me better myself as a director because for this most recent film, I wanted it to really be a collaboration between the actors and the director, because I made it such a character-based film, and there was so much about the characters that wasn't going to be featured in the films that I had created. Before I even wrote any words about this most recent script, I would write pages of like just character backgrounds and character descriptions. Wow. So I would have these one-on-one meetings with my actors, and I think if I hadn't already just started my filmmaking process with collaboration, I wouldn't have made the film I made.
Of course. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry, long answer.
No worries. It's very interesting to hear about, really. I mean, directing's a hard job, for sure. So
yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
There is. More than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. So, final question. What do you think is next for you after all of this?
Well, right now I'm going to be going to DePaul University in Chicago. I'll be getting a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in Film and Television, and I'm thinking about minoring in economics, but apparently the program's really intense, so you never know. But I'm really excited. Yeah, I'm going to have a fun summer, and then I'm going to move to Chicago, and we'll see what's next.
Yeah, wow. All right, well, that's all the questions we have for today. This has been Harper Egge on Central Campus Camera.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.